Hello and welcome everybody to another StarCraft 2 cast by Glitch. Today we are doing games from LiquidSheth. Yesterday we did a ZVT, today I covered a ZVZ, and now we are going to be doing a little bit of ZVP action and spawning. In the top right position of Antiga Shipyards as the Blue Zerg, playing from Team Liquid, our hero of the day, we have Sheth. Our opponent today spawning in the top left position as the Red Protoss, playing from Team Complexity, we have RSVP. Now, this was a game that was played on ladder, and it looks like RSVP is going to be going for a Forge Fast expand here. So I know Sheth has lately been dealing with a lot of 2-base play, so I'm actually very curious to know how he's going to be handling Forge Fast expands. I'm actually super curious to know. Just because I think he's been trying to play a little bit more of an aggressive style in all the matchups, really. I think he's just been, in general, trying to play a little bit less macro and a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more like Stefano, for example. Stefano, who is a very aggressive player, likes to attack at a lot of very strange attack timings that most players just don't expect, because most of the time players just wait. They just sit back and wait, and Zerg players just sit back and get more and more drones, and then all of a sudden there's tons of broodlords and things at the front of your base. But Sheth, though, has been trying to adopt a little bit more of that Stefano-like style, where, like, in the middle of nowhere, all of a sudden they'll just produce a ton of roaches and lings and just attack, and just because it happens at such a weird timing, it's really difficult to hold sometimes, just because they're just not prepared for it. Because honestly, if you think about it, you don't really need to get fully saturated and take every single base on the map in order for Zerg to produce a ton of units. Zerg can kind of just produce a ton of units whenever you want to, because you just have hatcheries up and you just inject them and you make tons of units, as much as your resources can allow. So you kind of have the option as Zerg to just make tons of units whenever you choose, at whatever timing you choose, within, I don't know, say a minute or so. So this is something that some Zergs are starting to take advantage of, and I think this is actually going to take Sheth really far, because I kind of I'm starting to think that this is kind of the future of Zerg, that this kind of aggressive style where you're just going to start to hit at weird timings, start to try to do as much damage to your opponent as you can at just weird funky timings, just because you can just kind of attack whenever, and it works pretty well as Zerg. You can kind of just choose your own attack timings. Now, in the base of RSVP, what the hell did I just say? The Forge did go down, followed by a cannon and the Nexus. That is because he scouted this spawning pool early, so he's just trying to play it a little bit extra safe right now. Didn't see the hatchery going down quite yet, so he wants to play super extra safe and wants to be sure that cannon goes down before the Nexus, just in case there's any kind of an all-in. But now it looks like Sheth is not going to be going for any kind of offensive at all. He is instead just going to be taking a super fast 2 bases, and look at this. Now Sheth is going to be getting into his opponent's base, seeing the timing on that hatchery, seeing, wow, that cannon came up before that Nexus. He now knows, guaranteed, this Nexus did not come right after Pylon, before Forge or anything like that. This is actually a pretty late Nexus. It's very safe, but it's late. And so he can punish that pretty easily by just taking 3 bases and just macroing up like a boss. It looks like that is indeed what Sheth is going to be doing. Notice no gas has yet been taken. Natural expansion just now getting up and running, still making nothing but pure drones. Looks like an Overlord is going in. This is about the proper scout timing to scout quite a few different things right now. You want to always send an Overlord in, but sometime around between the 5:30 and 6:30 mark, and that's really when you're going to start to see some techs start to go down for some builds. Some players choose to scout a little bit later. I know that 8 minutes and 30 seconds is also another big scout timing for a lot of players, just because if you scout around the 8-minute mark, that's when you're going to see a Stargate coming up. That's when you're going to see a lot of the big Warp Gate pushes coming up. So that's another big attack timing that can be a big clue. But it looks like Sheth just going to be coming in here very early to be scouting for anything at all that could be off in the base of RSVP. Now, if we check out the harvester count right now, we can see that Sheth is up 35 harvesters, and looks like the first Zealot is now out, and he is going to poke up in here and see that this third has gone down here for Sheth. But notice there's really not a whole lot he can do about it. If we look at the unit counting station right now, we can see that he has 31 probes and 1 Zealot, and we are at the 6 minute and 30 second mark. Cybernetics Core still researching. Warp Gate research not even done yet. As we can see, lots of Warp Gates now going up See how this is at about the 7-minute mark here. And this Cybernetics Core Warp Gate research is just going to be so late when they do this Forge Fast expand. A lot of Zerg players see this Nexus go down and feel like, oh god, he's on 2 bases. Oh, this feels so horrible. He's been sitting on 2 bases. He's going to hit me so far ahead. But if you really think about it, there's not a whole lot that a Protoss who Forge Fast expands, he can't really do anything before about the 8-minute mark. Nothing that isn't like super all in. Now, as we can see, RSVP did decide to go for a Stargate here, and Sheth does not know about it quite yet. No, he doesn't know that. He doesn't know the warp gates are going down, but notice, once again, it's getting ready with this Overlord to go in for the scout timing. Aha! There's that Overlord now going in around the 8-minute mark. I feel like his scout timings are just a smidgen early, but they are going to get there instead of right when things are happening. He'll see them like developing. So it's not a bad idea here from Sheth, but he is going to see this Overlord here had that well in position. So he now knows that that is coming down, and he should be bringing some queens over here to try to deal with this. We do see that there is no creep spread yet at all to this base, and Sheth going to be forced to pull drones off, and it looks like he's just pulling them back right now, trying to bait that Void Ray a little bit further into the base, but that is it, and there we go. First queen now out, going to start to focus down that Void Ray, get it out of there. In the meantime, notice Sheth is making quite a few roaches and lings right now because he is deciding to get a little bit aggressive. He's not fully saturating this third. He got saturated here on minerals, and he has 2 gas geysers in his main. Notice no lair, super late lair tech, not even worrying about getting lair tech at all. Gonna instead be going for a big roach push right now because once again, especially because he saw that Void Ray, this is all RSVP has. He really doesn't have a whole lot to be able to defend against a big roach push right now. As we can see, this is not really all in here by Sheth. Oh my god, I need the production tab back up. There we go. Production tab, nice force fields going down by RSVP though, but notice droning up tons behind this. Getting really, really aggressive. Lots and lots of drones behind this because he can start to stop mining for one thing. He can try to cut down on some of the units. He can prevent tech from going down because by attacking, you force your opponent to have to warp in units and make a lot of units he'd really rather not make because he'd rather get tech up. He'd rather sit back, be defensive, and just get up more and more tech. But by going for these early attacks, you force out units and delay tech. Now, there are 2 Stargates now, both producing Void Rays, so this is a lot of Void Rays now coming out here for RSVP. Currently just using these Warp Gates just to be defensive, but these 2 Warp Gates are going to get here in time. Looks like Spore Crawlers now getting in position here by Sheth, just now starting to take his 3rd and 4th gas geysers. Macro hatch going down as well. Still no lair tech anywhere. There we go. Lair tech is actually going down at his natural expansion. These Void Rays going to go around to try to harass the main, but spores are prepared in the main. So Sheth is going to be able to handle this quite nicely, and it looks like RSVP going to be clearing out this third because I think he is looking to expand. Yes, he is looking to take a very fast third. I like that move by RSVP because he's putting pressure on his opponent. Sheth not going to be doing anything too big quite yet, and if he does, he's going to be able to see it with these Void Rays. Going to be able to see the units that are popping out of this hatchery. Know what's going down. Nice transfuse goes down here by Sheth as he manages to transfuse that Overlord to save it and keep it alive. In the meantime, now he is starting to produce more and more roaches. We do see a Hydralisk den just now being started here by Sheth as he approaches quite a bit of saturation here. 78 harvesters to 51 right now. So far he's been holding this off all game long with just a couple of queens and a couple of spines. It's actually been a really, really good defense here by Sheth so far, but 4 Void Rays are now out on the map here for RSVP. Notice he has taken his 3rd behind this. Still not a high gateway unit count. He's still putting a lot into the getting out these Void Rays and a lot of this air unit business. So we can see that now. Oh, Sheth doing a lot of damage with this 1 queen. Will that queen finally go down? There are queens coming in doing damage from the back as well. 1 queen does fall, but these Void Rays are all starting to take quite a bit of damage here. Most of them are out of shield energy here, and so it looks like RSVP just going to be pulling back to recharge some of those shields. If we check out the workers killed count, we can see both players have actually killed the exact same number of workers. On the production tab, we can see that melee attacks level 2 as well, or rather missile attacks level 2, as well as ground carapace is on the way, as well as pneumatized carapace. This is an upgrade that I really, really like. That is the Overlord speed upgrade. There we go. Just finished now, and you can see how fast these Overlords are. They give you so much scouting information, because if we look at Sheth's vision right now, he really doesn't have a whole lot of vision on the map. So getting Overlord speed is one way to just be able to spread out your Overlords everywhere and really know what your opponent is doing. Now, once again, Sheth has produced a lot of units, and oh, they managed to get a free Phoenix there as they now move in here. Lots of Lings coming in, trying to scout ahead, trying to see where his opponent's units are, trying to check on that expansion, sees that that expansion has gone down, but it looks like he is just going to be going straight for the throat right now, as he's got a ton of roaches. This is a lot of Void Raids currently up for RSVP, but will he be able to hold off? This is a good number of Hydralisks here. Looks like about 8 Hydralisks are currently out on the field. He's going to start to focus down the Cybernetics core. If that Cybernetics core goes down, no more Stalkers are going to be able to come up, which means that he's not going to have too good, he's going to have less of a defense anyway against these roaches, and these roaches continuing to push in, and it looks like Sheth is actually going to be doing a tremendous amount of damage. The Forge goes down, now going to be focusing down that Nexus. All of the Hydralisks have been taken out here, but Sheth is now just trying to do all the damage he can. Notice he is rallying in more roaches and Lings behind this, and he's just going to continue to push on into that main, trying to do as much damage as he can, sending Lings ahead to try to maybe get a few probe kills. Nope. Looks like he's just going to be trying to do as much damage as he can, micro them in. There are some High Templar that have been worked in here to the back, but they don't have enough energy for Psystorm yet. Third going down to all these Lings and roaches. So much damage being dealt by Sheth right now. 76 food to 160 right now. If we check out the Harvester count, RSVP does still have a lot of his workers alive, but not for too long, as now they are starting to get focused down, and it looks like it finally managed to get cleaned up here, and he's going to be in an okay spot in his main. But that is not the same story that is in his third or in his natural. He has almost no other bases right now, and Sheth is just continuing to morph in more and more units right now. He knows he's done a lot of damage to the production of his opponent, knows that his opponent lost a gateway there. There are only 3 gateways up now for RSVP and a couple of Stargates, which can't really produce units all that fast, and now there are just so many Hydralisks moving across the map here for LiquidSheth, as it looks like these Lings are going to come in, get a good surround. No third going to be able to go down at all. This natural, I don't think, is long for this world, and oh, beautiful Psystorms going down here for RSVP, though. That is one good way to take out a lot of roaches, but there's just not a whole lot of other forces here to really be able to do any kind of damage, and RSVP is going to GG out of this match. Brilliantly played game there by Sheth, being very defensive, playing a little bit more standard. Notice that he still more or less went for a pretty heavy macro style. He interrupted it in the early mid game just to get out a group of roaches and Lings. That was not that many roaches. I think that was about 8 or 10 roaches and maybe 10 or 15 Lings, and then he just attacks, and then behind that he then saturates his third. He attacks as his third comes up, and then while he's doing that attack, gets that third saturated up, and then once he's saturated, he knows he's done all this pressure to his opponent. He can also be defensive, obviously, as he did to those air units, and then once he's fully saturated on those third, just max, completely max on roaches and hydras. And because of that early attack he did at the beginning here, and because he saw his opponent went for all of these early Void Rays, there's no way Colossi would have been on the field. It would have been too much to be able for RSVP to be able to do. He wouldn't have been able to take this third also if he was getting Colossi. Just wouldn't have been on the table. So going Roach Hydra here, realizing that his opponent is not going to have Colossi, and just maxing on Roach Hydra and just pouring into his opponent's base as he takes this gold base. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant play by Sheth. Solid, super aggressive, loving it. Hope you guys loved it too. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. Please comment down below. And that's going to do it for me, guys. Thanks so much for watching. GLiTCH out.